There's also the autonomy thing, which is, I think, could also be very, very significant. It will be very significant. But I'd say, like, in the absence of there being a fundamental technology discontinuity in the form of electrification and autonomy, both of them together, I think a new car company cannot succeed. Now, I'll tell you, like, actually, the real reason that people should have been shorting Tesla, and perhaps why some of them were shorting Tesla, and the real reason that new car companies cannot succeed, or why it's very hard for them to succeed.
In this video, Elon Musk has a dire warning for automotive manufacturers, including EV startups and legacy automotive companies, explaining that there is only one way to avoid going bankrupt this decade. And what's required? Oh, nothing much, just be better than Tesla at everything, including manufacturing vehicles, and solve autonomy. This is far and away the most insightful and nuanced discussion we've heard from Elon Musk on this, so let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment theme merch in the merch store, so check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. So, ladies and gentlemen, pay very close attention to what Elon Musk has to say. These words are likely to be rather prophetic. By the end of this decade, we'll have seen most of this play out. Don't say I didn't warn you.
There's also the autonomy thing, which is, I think, could also be very, very significant. It will be very significant. But I'd say, like, in the absence of there being a fundamental technology discontinuity in the form of electrification and autonomy, both of them together, I think a new car company cannot succeed.
So Elon Musk rightly believes that a new car company, and for the record, this actually includes legacy automotive manufacturers as well. Why? We already know the answer here. ICE vehicles going extinct. Therefore, every legacy automotive manufacturer now becomes a new car startup because they need to start making cars that people actually want to buy, electric vehicles. So, simply need to get great at manufacturing these, driving your costs down, ramp up to volume production, and have such a compelling product customers want to buy them. Oh, and then there's the whole, you've also got to solve autonomy thing. Now, as I've discussed at length on this channel, Tesla's lead in terms of autonomy is unassailable. And when I say unassailable, I mean unassailable. No one's catching up to them. The data flywheel, the feedback loop here. Tesla has a fleet now of more than 2 million vehicles, which are also data centers collecting data to train their neural networks to make their autonomous software better. The only way for anyone to have a hope in hell of even coming close to Tesla, maybe within a few years of them, is to snap their fingers and suddenly have their own fleet of a few million vehicles that's also growing at a rate of more than 1 million vehicles per year. Oh, but there's nobody doing that, is there? There's no automotive manufacturers making millions of vehicles per year that are covered in a suite of sensors to train their autonomous software yet, are there? No, there's not. And if Tesla's data lead continues to accelerate and grow exponentially and yours doesn't, you don't solve autonomy. I mean, maybe one day, but by the time you do that, Tesla's software may be 5, 10, 20, 100 times safer than yours. And when the data shows this, most consumers aren't going to be willing to get in a vehicle that has a 10 or 20 or 50 times higher probability of killing them. I mean, obviously there's a few exceptions to the rule. After all, people still ride motorcycles, but you guys get the point, right? The only logical conclusion here, if what I'm saying is right, and of course I could be wrong, unlikely, but it is possible, the logical conclusion to draw here is that at some point in the future, instead of other automotive manufacturers solving autonomy, instead, they'll need to come begging to Tesla, go, hey, Elon, Tesla, can we license your software? Because we just realized, even though some dickhead on YouTube's been saying this for years, that we're not actually ever going to be able to catch up to you in terms of safety. And we also realized that if our vehicles are demonstrably killing, injuring, and permanently disabling 2 times as many, 5 times as many, 10 times as many, 20 times as many people, that's probably not a good thing. So, since we need autonomy just to survive as an automotive manufacturer, please allow us to license yours. And Tesla says, sure, we'll take 50%, you get 50%, happy days. It's inevitable, ladies and gentlemen, that in the future, the vast majority of automotive manufacturers that aren't bankrupt by the end of the decade will be licensing Tesla's full self-driving technology. You can fucking count on it. This is great for Tesla, but not so great for anyone else pursuing an autonomous strategy.
Now, I'll tell you, like, actually, the real reason that people should have been shorting Tesla, and perhaps why some of them were shorting Tesla, and the real reason that new car companies cannot succeed, or why it's very hard for them to succeed. And this was first told to me by this automotive investor when I was at Axel Springer headquarters getting a Golden Steering Wheel award. And this guy was apparently like the best automotive investor in the world. comes up to me and he's like, "Ha, I know why you're going to fail." I'm like, "Well, please tell me." I can think of several reasons.
Tell me when I don't know.
Yes, and he said he said that the car companies don't make any money on the new car sales. They make all of their money selling parts to cars to the existing fleet. Mm-hmm. So when the warranty runs out, like the life of a car before it hits the junkyard might be 20 years. Warranty is going to typically run out after 4 years, and there's a bunch of stuff that's not covered under warranty. So if you've got a steady state fleet, it means that 80% of your fleet is not under warranty. Mm. So you can sell high margin parts, replacement parts for the existing fleet, mm-hmm. and you can sell your new cars at effectively zero margin. Mm. It's like a razors and blades thing.
Yeah.
So you sell the razor for zero margin,
yep.
and you sell the blades at high margin. Mm. So then this creates a massive barrier to entry for any new car company because you have no existing fleet. So the only way for a new car company to succeed is that does not have an existing fleet is to charge a lot more for your car than what others are paying, than competitors. And in order to charge a lot more, have people actually buy it, the product must be so compelling that people are willing to pay the premium above the alternative cars from the incumbent car makers. This is the only way. And I think without both electrification and autonomy, this does not succeed. You have to win on autonomy, and you have to win on electrification, and you have to make the product so compelling that it is worth paying the premium relative to the incumbent competitors. This is a very big deal. Very, very big deal.
So just a couple of things to discuss here. First and foremost, very important point. The way that most automotive manufacturers today actually make their money isn't by selling vehicles. It's A, by financing them. We've discussed this in recent videos. That is not going to end well. And B, it's by selling parts, maintenance, service. There's one major problem here. Electric vehicles have almost no moving parts, which means there's almost nothing to wear out, break, and require maintenance. The running joke among most Tesla owners is how expensive their annual maintenance on their vehicle is, which includes refilling their wiper fluid and maybe replacing their wiper blades, and that's about it. So irrespective of anything else in this discussion, that business model can no longer work. Selling ICE vehicles and making all your money on repairs and maintenance, no longer valid. Consumers will just buy EVs. This is why we talk about much lower total cost of ownership. But in addition to that, as Elon points out, not only do these companies need to now get amazing, and I mean amazing, at manufacturing electric vehicles, but they must solve autonomy. And as Elon points out, the reason is simple. In order for a new, and that includes legacy automotive manufacturers spooling up their EV production, a new automotive manufacturer to be successful, their product must be so compelling, consumers are willing to pay a major premium, at least initially, until they can ramp up to many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of units per year. Then they benefit from economies of scale plus an existing fleet, not that they're maintaining and repairing and replacing parts on, but instead receiving ongoing recurring revenue through something like autonomy. And of course, there's the autonomous software as well. You've got to nail this, otherwise no one's going to want your vehicle. Now, the question I want to ask at this point in time, how many EV startups, how many legacy automotive manufacturers can you guys and girls name that you believe confidently can catch up to Tesla in terms of making comparably compelling electric vehicles, similar software, performance, efficiency, drivetrain, on and on and on, don't forget safety, blah, 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 and also catch Tesla on autonomy? Oh, wait. Actually, no, I won't. I'm going to be here all fucking century. You guys and girls understand how important this is? You don't just need to catch Tesla in terms of making electric vehicles, actually physically manufacturing the products, understanding how to thermally manage the battery, driving a cost down, reducing weights, and on and on and on and on. In addition to this, you also have to solve autonomy. And I don't just mean have some autonomous software that's okay. You need to be almost as good, if not as good as Tesla, otherwise people aren't going to want to get in these vehicles because they'll know they have a high chance of getting in an accident. On the flip side, what if we could identify a company that's already profitably making compelling electric vehicles at scale with huge profit margins and has an unassailable lead in autonomy? Would that company not then stand an incredibly high chance of enormous success in the coming years and decades? If anyone can think of a company such as this, please let me know in the comments below. I might like to buy some of their stock, and by some I mean all of it.
So that's why I think unless some new car company is able to solve autonomy and electrification and make a product that's extremely compelling and reach volume production where with a cost of goods, where the cost of the car is low enough that you can charge a price where you don't exceed the affordability limit of people. Like a number of times I've had this conversation with like rich investors on Wall Street is crazy because there are two factors at play. One is value for money. The other is fundamental affordability. So these things are often conflated by if somebody has tens of millions of dollars, lives in Wall Street and whatever, they don't understand that they just think about value for money. They don't think about affordability. Like, all cars are affordable. If someone just literally does not have enough money in the bank account, they cannot buy the car, even if you rail desirability to infinite. Like, we'll just turn the desirability knob. This thing will transform into a jet and fly you to a private island that it will create by itself. You can make it so desirable that you can just make desirability infinite. But if it costs more than people can afford, they can't buy it no matter how great it is. That affordability threshold is very, very important. So it must both be good value for money and be affordable in order to achieve the unit volumes. And where car companies can get kind of painted into the corner of doom is if the cost of the car is so high that they have to raise the price of the car to the point where the price of the car is, and Rivian, I think, has this problem. So that they either need to fix it or they're in deep trouble.
If there's any Rivian stock investors watching the channel, pay close attention. Elon Musk is talking about the existential threat to Rivian right now, who seem to currently have painted themselves into a, quote, corner of doom.
They raise the price to the point where only a very small number of people can afford the car, no matter how desirable it is. Then, at that point, if you cannot achieve a unit volume that covers your fixed costs, you're screwed.
Did Elon Musk just suggest that if Rivian can't actually get to a high enough unit volume, that economies of scale mean that they're actually making money on their products? No matter how desirable they are, no matter how well a Rivian pickup truck will match your handbag, they don't have a sustainable business model and they're fucked. I mean, to be fair, Elon did use the term screwed, but you know what he meant.
And Rivian needs, my advice to Rivian would be to cut costs immediately across the board dramatically, or they're doomed.
In my opinion, if Elon Musk has advice for an EV startup, it's definitely worth listening, and notice the language there, the terminology. Elon Musk said his advice for Rivian was to immediately, and dramatically cut costs, or they're fucked. And to be clear, he doesn't mean lower prices on your vehicles. That's not what he's talking about. He means cut the actual cost to make the vehicles. Reduce your overhead. Become as lean and resourceful as possible. But Rivian has this slight problem. The bell curve. And what I mean by that is dumbass investors throwing money at the company. They got billions of dollars floating around now. In my opinion, early in your lifetime as a company, especially an automotive manufacturer, it's not the time to have billions and billions and billions of dollars being thrown at you by dopey investors, because you're less likely to be resourceful. You're going to be less hungry. You're not going to fight as hard. You're going to be lazier, more wasteful. End result, bankrupt. Let me know in the comments below if you think Rivian are taking Elon Musk's advice on board. Like, seriously, do you think the company saw this interview and went, well, if Elon says we probably need to dramatically and immediately cut costs, maybe we should do that? Or is it more likely that Rivian, Elon, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's not like he's built a successful EV startup or anything. Oh, wait.
So, this applies to any car company, really. Yeah. As you raise the price, you're sort of the percentage of people who can afford the car starts to drop exponentially. So, start getting a car above $100,000, very, very few people can afford it, no matter how desirable it is.
This is true. I'm sure many people who are regular viewers of the channel will have heard me discuss this many times. The reverse is also true. A linear decrease in the price of a vehicle creates an exponential increase in demand. This is why driving your costs down is so important. This is why I continue to harp on about Tesla's manufacturing prowess, 30+% gross automotive margins. And more important than that, the fact that Tesla has been able to increase the price of their vehicles on average over the last 12 to 18 months by 25 to 35%, yet still has wait times in excess of 6, 9, 12 plus months. Let's think about this a little bit. I know it hurts, but it's important. Time to do some thinking. If it's true that an incremental increase in the price of a vehicle causes an exponential decrease in demand, and if Tesla has enormously raised the prices on their vehicles over the last 12 to 18 months, thereby exponentially reducing demand, yet still we have clear evidence based on wait times. It doesn't matter what country you're buying a Tesla vehicle in. You're waiting at least 3, 4, 6, 9, 12 plus months. Then does this not give us a clear indicator of how absolutely fucking absurd demand is for Tesla's products already at their current inflated price points? Meaning, over time, as Tesla can massively ramp up their global production capacity and reduce wait times. Tesla can then start tweaking the dials in terms of pricing and incrementally reduce the price of their vehicles, again creating an exponential increase in demand. This is such an important lever for future demand. Most investors don't seem to get this, most Wall Street analysts don't seem to get this, most people don't seem to get this. I firmly believe that if Tesla was producing 10 million electric vehicles per year right now, they'd sell every single one of them. Now, of course, somebody's going to come back, oh, but the price is too high. You just set the price on it. Let's explain this, okay? The more vehicles Tesla is making, the shorter their wait times, meaning they don't have to jack up their prices by tens of thousands of dollars just to ensure wait times don't get ridiculous. Plus, the more vehicles they're making, the lower their fixed costs, meaning the lower their overheads, meaning the higher their margins, meaning, well, do we want to make a 40% margin or 35% or 32%? Tesla has huge pricing power. The more vehicles Tesla makes, the more they benefit from economies of scale. The shorter the wait times, the more they can bring their prices down while still maintaining ridiculous industry-leading margins. And then you have an EV startup like Rivian or Lucid, who aren't making any money on their vehicles today, and whose prices are considerably above Tesla's for a comparable vehicle in terms of specs, and they have no hope in hell of catching up in terms of an autonomous strategy. The question I ask is, how do any of these companies survive? And I don't have an answer. The best I can come up with is immediately license Tesla's full self-driving software. Bang, one problem solved. Sure, you're not making as much money, and half of it's going to Tesla, but hey, they've got the best software. This is your only way to survive. You've got to do it. And then the second thing is, how on earth do you get to a high enough volume of vehicles that you can profitably sell these at prices that consumers can afford to pay, when Tesla is years ahead and 20-30+% ahead in terms of their cost to actually produce the vehicles versus you? And I honestly don't know how any of these companies survive. I just don't. Some will, I think, but I don't know how. Please let me know in the comments below. How do they do it? How do they catch up to Tesla? I just don't see it happening. In other words, Tesla has won the decade. I guess the short story here is great news for Tesla, not so great news for not Tesla. Nothing new here, but it's interesting to hear some of Elon's more nuanced thoughts around this. If you read between the lines here, it's pretty clear. Most automotive manufacturers, legacy and new startups, will not survive the decade. Hope you guys and girls have enjoyed the video. Great news for Tesla stock investors and not exactly great news for everyone else. And lastly, don't forget to join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment to gain access to well over 100 exclusive Q&A videos, my Tesla stock price targets out over the next 10 years, which, yes, for the record, does include Tesla licensing their full self-driving software to other automotive manufacturers. This has been in my Tesla valuation model from day one, and there's plenty of other perks and exclusive content on Patreon as well. So I'll see you over there. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support.